Well, it's only been 3 weeks since they've taken our guns. And those cells have now come out. I'm trying to get home. Latest reports is tens of thousands have been killed. Hitting the cities, hitting the small cities. Law enforcement was soon overwhelmed. Why didn't we learn from Israel? Why didn't we learn what would actually happen? And now I got to go home and try to defend with a pistol. Because you people fell for this bullshit lie. Now, that's fiction. But it could be coming here soon. And here's why. I've been looking at the land of Twitter. Should almost be a name for describing somebody who's an idiot with lots of followers. So we've got the killer found dead from the main shooting. I haven't found out how, probably suicide. But I don't have that information yet. And we have all the typical players calling for assault weapons bans and calling for universal this and universal that. Well, you know, clowns, most of that stuff already happens. We have gun checks. We have background checks here in Illinois. All right, we still had the shooting up north. How? Because the kid who should not have had a FOID card after threatening his family was able to get one because his father, who had political ties, signed a waiver. So rules for thee, but not for me. But you didn't hear that from the media. You're not hearing it. This guy spent 2 weeks in an institution because he was threatened to shoot up a military base. He's hearing voices in his head, mentally unstable. His own family was begging law enforcement to make sure this guy didn't have guns. So he was on the radar, folks, and he was allowed to fester. He was allowed to burst. And this is why I called it 2 weeks ago. It's not that they plan it, but they see where it's going to happen, and they do nothing about it. It's the same thing. But now, what do they want to do? They want to restrict our rights. So there's a preacher on there. All right, not a Catholic priest, but a preacher. And, you know, it's the effing guns. It's the effing guns. Of course, he's not saying effing. And I look at him going, hi, he must be using the new version of the Bible. Must be the Samuel Jackson version of the Bible. I don't remember him using that type of language. And then everybody who disagreed with him, well, boy, this clown just kept it going full blast. So another guy goes, no, it's the person. It's the mentally unstable. It's the drugs they're shooting out there. It's the pressure of trying to make a living. You know, it's what you see on the media. And the guy had a picture of him flexing. So he was a weightlifter. He goes, oh, I don't even want to show your face, because in the main profile picture, you didn't see his face. Oh, keep lifting. Well, somebody will be a man. Now, that's supposed to be a preacher. Now, if you go to the guy who commented to his profile, he has a background picture with him and 3 of his buddies in plain sight. So I said, well, first of all, if you even spent a minute before you yapped your mouth, preacher, you would see that he does have his identity there in the background picture. And what? Somebody who lifts, triggers you, beta? You know? Maybe someday you'll grow up to be a man, because you're not now. I don't care how many followers you have. You know, you got 300,000 idiots following this guy. He wrote a book. And he's the guns. It's not the guns, it's the people. It's always the people. And when they take this gun, then they're going to come after the rest of them. Now, I've already proved that a pistol can be effective against one assailant with an AR if you're practiced and trained. But does the AR have an advantage? Sure it does. Absolutely. But number one, it's not a weapon of war. No military uses an AR-15. I'll repeat again. No military uses an AR-15. Zero. All right? None of them. Is a semi-automatic rifle that fires a 5.56 caliber or a 223 or 5.56 millimeter or a 223 caliber. Basically a 22. And then you had the people from The View. My God, Prod, you are so dumb. But I don't know who's more dumb, them or people who watch that program. Well, you don't deer hunt with them because there'd be nothing left to deer when you hit with them. You know, can I have somebody who knows nothing about what they're talking about for 400, Alex? All right, it's usually not used for deer. It's not large enough of a caliber, and they're afraid you're just going to wound the animal and not kill it. When you're hunting, you want to kill the animal so you don't waste the meat and it doesn't suffer. All right, so you use a round that's much larger, 308, 30 caliber. All right, not a 22 caliber, 30, much larger round. You know, so it's just amazing how much stupidity and misinformation's out there. And then you got the clowns at the White House. Well, you know, we just need to do what Australia does. Hey, if you want to do that, move your ass to Australia. All right? Get a GoFundMe. I'll guarantee you, the NRA will pay for your way to get your silly, stupid ass out of here. If anything, October 7th should have taught us the need for an AR-15. Because look what happened to Israel. They have strict gun control. They're loosening it up now. I wonder why. But after 2,000 people died. So did they blame the guns that Hamas was using? Or did they blame Hamas? Answer me that question. It's the gun people. Did they blame the guns that Hamas used to kill all those Israelites? Or did they blame Hamas? I'll make it easy for you. They blamed Hamas. All right, so when somebody goes out and shoots up a place in gun-free zones that you created, it's the person. And that's why he went to a gun-free zone. They had a sign on the bowling alley, we're a family-friendly item. No firearms allowed. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? It's terrible those people died. It really is. But what's more terrible is that is a constitutional carry state. And they have so many places you can't carry, it makes it useless. So what is their answer? More restrictions. The stupidity never ends. And if you are okay with this, you are part of the problem. You need to get educated. You need to sit there and turn off the White House and CNN, and you need to look at real data. Okay? All the deaths from firearms. Only about 3% are from rifles. Almost 60% are suicides. And a good portion of the ones that are left are gang related. So it really comes down to it. All right, you're more likely to die from heart disease, being overweight. More people are killed with blunt objects than with weapons. And the number one killer? Abortion. And I don't care if you're pro-life or pro-choice. Let's just call what the number one killer is. It's abortion. So when people say, well, what about the children? The first thing I ask them, pro-life or pro-choice? They never answer me. What that tells me. And I don't care if you're pro-life or pro-choice. That ain't what this is about. But don't pretend to care about the children if you're pro-choice. Because what you care about is convenience. That's another subject. So I'm going to try to have some catchy end of the times coming, because what I started out with is a very realistic scenario. What will happen if you allow our government to take our weapons? All right, if you don't think there are people here to harm us after all those years of an open damn border, and yes, the border was open, folks. If you don't believe that, oh my God, then you got your head in the sand. Now, where I live is not a likely target, but most of you Democratic voters where you live, that is a likely target. So pick your poison. They've got all these people complaining about all the immigrants that are in their areas now. But you want to know something? It was a place where 87% of them voted Democrat. And you voted for it, you got it. Don't complain about what you voted for. Oh, we're a sanctuary city until they show up. Also, now we're not. So Twitter's, if you're not on Twitter, don't. It's a land of stupidity and just political nightmares. I go on there just to see what level of stupidity have they reached today. Never disappointed. Never. Misinformation out there to try to sell you on it will be a good idea to give up your AR-15 for the sake of safety. I'm sorry, folks, that's not how that works. So when you're voting this next election, I do pray, all you patriots and everybody who's a gun owner, and everybody who does not want to be a victim, that you don't vote in the side that wants to take your guns. They are coming for your guns, and they're not even hiding it anymore. And when they go, the United States, as we know it, ends in a violent way. It really does. The problem is the younger generation don't understand what gifts they've been given by the sacrifice of the older generations. And they try to find something to complain about. Folks, you ain't got nothing to complain about. You're in the best country in the world. And I'm watching it fall apart. So, that's the report. That Robert Kane has been found dead. That's all they said. So we don't have to worry about him killing anybody else. But you want to sit there and stop people like that? Carry. And I mean carry, regardless of what the sign says. It's the only way you're going to be able to protect yourself. Like I said, I called this 2 weeks ago. He was on the radar, and I'm sure there's others on the law enforcement radar that they're just waiting for it to happen so they can force these restrictions on you. Because you'll believe that must be the way. Problem is people think with their emotions, they're not thinking logically. Yes, what was happening is terrible, and my heart goes out to the victims and the families. But the reason it happened is because you didn't have a gun on you. That's why it happened. You went in a place that didn't allow you to have a gun. But there's no way to stop anybody from coming in there and having a gun. Did that place have security? No. Then why would you leave yourself open? If they want to, be a gun-free zone, then they better have security there, and they better have enough security there that is armed. Otherwise, I really don't believe they have the right to ask you that. They ask, where's the armed guards? Well, we don't have any. Okay, then take that sign down. Don't tell me to be a victim, because that's what they are. They're victim-heavy zones. I'm telling you, come the next voting cycle, vote with your mind, not with your heart. Because we have to change this. Because it's getting worse. Everybody stay alert, stay strapped, stay healthy. Stop listening to CNN and MSCN and Fox and any of those news outlets. They're selling fear. That's all they're doing.